Exercise 5 asks that we solve the inequality and graph the solution. So in the last couple problems, we were already solving the inequality. So we have 8y minus 5 is less than 3. And so we need to solve for y. We need to get the y by itself, which means that the numbers that we need to get rid of are going to be 5 and 8. Well, the rule for, or the guideline I should say, because you don't have to, but the guideline for solving two-step inequalities is to take care of your addition subtraction first and then your multiplication division. So I would recommend that you take care of this minus 5 first, and then whatever is left over after that, you're going to take care of the 8 times y to get the y by itself. So it's a two-step inequality, so you're going to need to do two things. So step 1, you're going to need to add or subtract a number. And then in step 2, you'll need to multiply or divide by another number to get the y by itself. And just a reminder that whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other side. So if you decided that you were going to add 100 to the left side, you need to add 100 to the right side. If you're going to divide by 1,000,000 on the left side, you need to divide by 1,000,000 on the right side. So after that, once you get the solution, then you'll simply just graph the solution. If after watching just that part of the video you still are a little confused, I'll do an example for you. I could do something like 10y minus 7 is less than 3. Very similar to the example you're doing. I've got 10y minus 7 is less than 3. Like I said, I want to take care of my addition subtraction first, so I'm going to take care of this minus 7 first. And the way to get rid of minus 7 is to add 7. Because minus 7 and plus 7, those are going to cancel out to equal 0. And if I added 7 on the left side, I'm going to add 7 to the right side. So that's going to leave me with 10y is less than 10. So that was my step 1. Now step 2, I'm going to need to multiply or divide by something. Well, I've got 10 times y is less than 10. I never do multiplication and multiplication or division and division. There always has to be opposites involved. And so if this is 10 times y, the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to multiply both sides. And then the only number that I've got here is 10. But you always want to divide by the same number that's attached to the variable. So in this case, we're going to be left over with y on the left side, 1 on the right side, and then is the number that you multiply or divided by negative. In this case, we divided by a positive number, so we don't need to flip the sign. And we get that y is less than 1 as the solution for our example. So you go ahead and try the exercise 5 problem on your own, and then graph your solution. The way that I would graph my solution, if y is less than 1, that means it can't equal 1, so it'd be an open circle. And less than, I think less left, so I'm going to go to the left. Exercise 7 is another example. Now this one is one that I know a lot of people are going to get stuck on, not because you don't have the skills to do it, but just because it looks different. And anytime something looks different, it's a little confusing. So I've got 2 is greater than 8 minus 4/3 h. Now we've been talking about how we want to take care of the addition subtraction first and then your multiplication division. So that means I need to take care of the number that's farthest from the variable that's still on the same side. So that would be the 8, because the 4/3 or the 4/3, that's attached to the variable. So I need to get rid of that 8 first. Well, if I have an 8, I need to ask myself, is this a positive or a negative 8? And this is a positive 8. So what am I going to do to get rid of positive 8? Subtract 8. And do I subtract 8 just from that right side? No, I subtract it from the left side as well. And then that's going to leave me now with my new inequality of negative 6 is greater than, that minus sign right here is now going to be the negative sign for this negative 4/3 h, which if we had done a keep change, it would have turned that 4/3 into a negative 4/3 anyway. So that negative sign, that minus sign is now the negative sign to the negative 4/3. And because there is a negative number attached to the variable, that's my hint that my answer is going to need to have the sign reversed. Now I've got negative 4/3 attached to the h, and hopefully now you're getting a little more comfortable by anytime you see a fraction attached to the variable, you need to multiply by its reciprocal. So the reciprocal of negative 4/3, or the flipped version, is going to be negative 3/4, because that 3 and the 3 diagonal from each other when we cross simplify. Going to cross simplify to 1. And 4 and 4 are going to cross simplify to 1. So it leaves you with just h, because the negative times the negative will also cancel out. So we're going to be left with just h on the right side. And then if I multiplied the right side by negative 3 over 4, what do you think I'm going to multiply the left side by? Hopefully you said negative 3 over 4. Well, now that negative 3 times negative 6, that's going to be a positive 18. And then 4 times 1 is going to be 4. 4 goes into 18 4 times with a remainder of 2. And 2/4 can simplify to 4.5 is less than h. So a lot of little steps involved here, skills that you know, but just because it's kind of new in the way that it's arranged. We saw that minus sign here turn into a negative sign, something kind of new. It might have been a little confusing, but you have all the skills to solve it. And then just always keep in mind that you need to multiply a fraction by its reciprocal to get it to 1, and then you do the same thing to the